on here the single ingredient for the single cooker. And in these videos, we focus on one single ingredient and make it great. Because just because you're cooking for one doesn't mean it can't be fun. So today the ingredient we are going to focus on are baby gold potatoes. So these little potatoes are absolutely perfect to cook with, especially for the single cooker. Personally, on my own, I don't really like potatoes all that much. They're a little bit too starchy for me oftentimes, and they're kind of a little too mealy, a little bit too much. But these guys are perfect because they are bite-sized, they are so versatile, they can go with pretty much anything. So today what we're going to do is we are going to make smashed potatoes in the oven. Half of our batch is going to have some cheddar, green onions, and crispy bacon. The other half of our batch is going to have salty brie with a sweet apricot preserve. Can't wait to see how these guys turn out. We're going to bake these potatoes at 375 for 30 minutes. Today with our baby golds, we are going to be working on a recipe that can be used for an appetizer or can be used as a side dish. It's perfect just for serving on a tray or for putting with some steak for steak and potatoes, or I've done it with lobster tail and it was perfect. But today we're just going to focus on our single ingredient, the potatoes. So my potatoes are washed, they are ready to go. What I'm going to be doing next with them is drizzling on some olive oil in my bowl and then adding my dry seasonings of garlic powder, because I told you I love garlic, onion powder, salt, and pepper. Those are the only seasonings we're going to be using today because we are going to be adding our cheeses on top. So I'm just going to lightly mix that together. Just kind of scatter it on top. Make sure we coat all the potatoes with the olive oil, with the seasonings, everything that we've got in that bowl. We want to get it all mixed up together. So I already have 2 baking sheets lined with foil, and I'm going to just start picking them up and placing them one by one on the baking sheet. I'm using 2 baking sheets because I am doing 2 different cheeses. If you are doing a dinner party or something where you're using this for an appetizer and you know that there is a particular cheese that's going to be liked more than the other, for instance, my family doesn't love brie so much. They're crazy. I love brie. Because they love cheddar, I would do much more cheddar for them and probably only half the amount of brie. Once we get these baked, then we are going to be smashing them. And I literally mean smashing them. We're not mashing them like a mashed potato. These are going to be smashed potatoes. You'll see what I mean when they come out. All right, let's put these in the oven. Remember, we are going to put these in for 30 minutes at 375. If your potatoes are rolling around as much as mine are and getting a little out of line there, don't worry about it. We will fix them later when we smash them. So now we are going to prep our cheese. All I'm doing is cutting a few chunks off the nice fresh brick that I got from the supermarket. And I'm gonna basically cut these into quarters. Oof, it's nice and crumbly. This is gonna be perfect on these potatoes, which by the way are sizzling in the oven and it sounds awesome, so I'm sure it's going to taste awesome. It's weird to think that food would sound good, but it does. All right, so that's about what we're gonna be putting on top of the potato. You're just gonna cut enough cheese, one little tiny square for each potato. So now we're gonna cut our brie. Because it's obviously differently shaped than the cheddar, I'm gonna be doing long slices with it. Oh, look how creamy that is. You see that? Oh my gosh. This is gonna melt so good on top of those potatoes. I'm still gonna do the same thing, cut about roughly the same size that I did for my cheddar, just tiny little squares, just enough to have 1 square for each potato. Woo, sticky. I just want to mention that I also put in the microwave some microwavable bacon. I know, it's not as good as fresh bacon. I agree with that, except in instances like this, because microwave bacon is already cooked. Obviously, it's pre-cooked. So when you heat it in the microwave, it actually becomes really crumbly and a lot easier to put on stuff like this. I've also used it on things like pasta carbonara and baked potatoes, like twice baked potatoes, yeah. Anyways, pre-cooked bacon is oftentimes the way to go for a single cooker. All right, so the green onion is only going to be going on the cheddar and bacon potatoes. So I don't need a ton, just enough to pretty much go with the amount of cheese that I chopped. All right, our 30 minutes are up. Let's get these potatoes. So they don't look any different yet, so don't expect them to. But when we start smashing them and putting our goodies on top, that's where the magic happens. Alright, so I just took our baby golds out of the oven, and I gave the pan a little bit of time to cool down before I'm going to start to smash because I'm not trying to burn myself. So I am using a shot glass because it's me. And probably after I finish cooking, I'm going to fill the shot glass and take myself a little shot. That's besides the point. You can use a fork, you can use the bottom of any cup you have. Like I said, I'm using my shot glass. These are cool enough to the touch that I can start manipulating them. So all I'm doing is simply taking my jar and literally smashing them down till they form a little flat round. And I'm just going to go through. Oh yeah, you can see them kind of explode a little on the end there. That's exactly what you want because then the cheese is going to get into that. Woo, that was a juicy one. Now this time, I am going to try to line them up a little bit better than I had before because now that they're flat, they won't be rolling around when I put them back in the oven. Our potatoes are smashed. We are going to start to dress them up. What I'm going to do is actually lay the bacon down first, which I know seems weird because you would think I'd be putting the bacon on top of the cheddar. But I'm not going to do that because how often do you go to a party or you're grabbing something off your plate and your bacon, your green onions, all the good stuff falls off? This way that won't happen. So what will happen is the cheddar is going to melt on top of everything else. And it'll kind of act like a little blanket to keep it secure. All right, doing the same thing with the green onions, gonna put it on top of the bacon. Now I'm kind of working here to kind of flatten everything as I go. So then again, none of this goodness falls off. We don't want the goodness to fall off. All right, now it's time for the cheddar. So the cheddar, I'm really gonna try to square on top of everything I have. Now you're kind of building a little sculpture here, a little masterpiece. So now that I've got all the good stuff on, I'm gonna put the cheese on top. Feel free to take your time with it. You know, you're trying to impress people that you're serving with this. So, I've got my potatoes, my green onions, my bacon, my cheddar ready to go. I'm gonna pop these in the oven first because cheddar takes a longer time to melt, and then I'm gonna come back and play with the brie. On to my favorite, the brie potatoes. So as you can see, it's already getting melty. Oh yeah, we're definitely melty here, but that's okay. Now I happen to like the rind on brie. That is another personal preference. Some people don't like the rind, so I cut it with the rind on. If you don't like the rind, put the brie in your freezer, let it freeze up, and you can cut this white rind right here, you can cut it right off. I do happen to like the rind because I am a texture person, which other than cheese and garlic is a thing you'll learn about me. So I like that it kind of gives a little bit of a bite. You don't necessarily need it though because you're already putting it on potato, but still, I happen to enjoy the rind. All right, so I've got this brie pretty well set. I'm going to put the apricot preserve right on top of the brie. Smells pretty good. To be honest with you, I've actually never had apricot preserve before, so we'll see how it goes. Usually when I eat brie, I eat it with bruschetta or honey. Honey's really good too. But I just thought for a little different taste, let's try a little bit of the apricot because I've heard apricot goes great with brie. So to be honest, I'm just about as excited to try it as you probably are. These are ready to go in the oven too. And we can check on our cheddar potatoes. All right, so we got some of our potatoes plated, and I can't wait to taste, but I don't know which one I want to taste because they both look and smell so good. But because I've been bragging about brie this whole time, I am gonna go for this brie and apricot one right here. Perfectly bite-sized, so that was great on its own. But man, that apricot preserve with that salty, creamy brie, the recipes were right. That was great. All right, guys, so I'm gonna keep picking at these, but for now, if you like what we're doing here, subscribe down below, and as I promised, just because you're cooking for one doesn't mean it can't be fun.